In this video, I'd like to introduce you to building IK handles, basically just a couple other more complicated rigging techniques here. Um, I introduced you to some of the basics for rigging, building the joint chain and creating the controllers. And in this video, I just want to introduce you to IK handles, some other types of constraints that we can put on our controllers. Okay, so to build an an IK handle is basically, when we're talking about rotating joints, we're talking about forward kinematics, meaning that we rotate something forwards. IK are reverse kinematics, and basically like kind of an interpretation of a muscle connecting the bones together. So let's just go ahead and go to skeleton here under rigging, and we're going to say create IK handle. Let me go to this options bar here. And we want to do a rotate plane solver. There's two types, but for knees and for arms, we'll do rotate plane solver. And I like to turn on sticky. That means that it will snap to my joints. And so what I want to do is I want to start at the hip joint, and then I want to run that down to the ankle joint. And now what you'll see is I have this thing called an IK handle that's been generated, and I'll show you what this does. If I go to translate this IK handle, it's pushing the leg up or out, and so I'm able to use reverse kinematics to move and to rotate this joint chain on this particular foot. So what's important, and we can always kind of come back to a center position if we zero all the transformations out. Should be pole vector. See if we zero those out. Not quite right. So let me undo this. Okay, because we have a couple other things to do. So I have this IK handle here, and what I want to do is I want my foot controller to run that IK handle. So when I move the foot controls, I'm able to move that IK. And then I also have this thing, and it's hard to see. Maybe if I hit 4, we can see it a little bit better if we can look inside the character, but I have this thing called a pole vector, and this is saying where it wants the knee to point, so where it wants that middle joint to be pointed. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to select my controller down here, this foot control. Let me open it up, the foot control. And I've already placed its pivot. You know, the pivot has been at that ankle bone, which is good. We'll leave it there. And so I'm going to select the IK handle and then control select that foot control and go to constrain, just do a regular parent constraint. So now when I move that foot controller, when I move the foot control, we have to do that again, I guess. IK handle, left foot control, parent constraint, see what the options are here, and say add. Now, under the IK handle, we should have a foot constraint. And I don't see it. I see my foot going away. So if I select the foot control and then I select the IK handle and go constraint parent, now that IK handle has a parent constraint on it, and I can select my foot control, and now I can move that IK handle. And now I'm able to go here, and if I need to zero it out, now we're back in our kind of T-pose position. Something's a little bit strange about the positioning of this joint compared to the other. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and drop in an IK handle here as well. So I'm going to go to skeleton, create IK handle from the hip to the ankle. Now that those things look the same, these joints at the end are symmetrical. So creating that IK handle popped those joints a little bit. Okay, but I have another, let's just make sure here, under our IK handle 2, and I have my pole vector there, and so now I'm going to again select the foot control and select that IK handle constrain and say parent constraint, and now I have a parent constraint on that foot as well. Let me go back and do this left one again. Okay, so now I have IK foot control and then IK handle constrain. Okay, so now I have a parent constraint on either of these, both of these controllers, but now I want to be able to point the knee in a particular position as well. So I'm going to select, I have this knee control, and I generated this shape just by using a circle, right? I can press V and middle mouse and pop it into place somewhere. And this will, if I turn off my geometry, right? Let's turn off visibility on geometry, press V, and it'll pop it to that, let's rotate it around the X 90 degrees, pop it to that joint. And then I want to, I can go to vertex, control vertex, select these vertices, hit scale, and create something that has a more interesting shape to it. Okay. This will be a pole vector. So let's see. The pivot here stays kind of within the circle. That's fine. But I want to, now I can select this. Let's do the left knee first. I'm going to select the left knee, and then I'm going to select that IK handle again. Let's rename these so we know this is the left knee. And I'm going to type it in over here. I'm going to say left knee, IK handle, get rid of that one, and I'll do the same thing here, and I'll say right knee, IK handle. Okay, so I know which is which here. So the left knee, and I'm going to select first this control, and then I'm going to select the left knee, and I'm going to say constrain, and I'm going to say pole vector constraint. Now what that does, and you can kind of see it here, is when I translate this controller, it points the knee in a particular direction. Okay, so let's do the same thing on this side. I'm going to grab this control, and I'm going to grab this IK handle and say constrain pole vector. Okay, so now I have those two pole vector constraints ready to go, and it popped my foot back in the right direction, right? So when I put that IK handle on, the pole vector was kind of just arbitrary. The toes were pointing in a strange direction, but now they're pointing, the knees are pointing straight ahead, the feet look okay, and then I have these controllers down here that I'm able to also move. So I can move this, and then I can also say where I want the knee to be positioned. Okay, and so this is just the way to tell the direction, the IK handle, which direction we're pointing in. Okay, and then I can always go here, and because I've frozen the transformations on all of my controllers, if I just zero them out, it will bring it back to its normal position. Let's do the same here for this controller. Okay. So I've already done that here with the hands, and there are other ways you can do the hands. You can do just regular forward kinematics and create, but I've done the same thing kind of here. And I've also constrained these controllers, they're both constrained to the IK handles, to move the IK handle for the arm around, but also to kind of rotate that joint and to move the hand. Okay. And then again, I can select almost everything here, go here, zero everything out. And maybe I'm going to want to say select all in the hierarchy, so I'm really selecting everything. Let's zero everything out. Okay, so we have our rig in its kind of default position. Now let's look at the eyes. Let's turn the geometry back on. And I have an eye rig here. This is a different kind of constraint we're going to do. And this eye rig has a left eye and a right eye. And right now I've frozen these two things. But what I'd like to do is have, and these eyes, if we go to these controllers, let's look through an orthographic front view, right? They are placed directly in front of these eyes. They are centered on the eyeballs. And so what I want to do is, let's dive first into the rig, because these pieces of geometry I've parented to the head joint. Okay, so they are locked on the head joint, so wherever the head joint moves, let me show you first here. So wherever this head joint goes, and I have this controller is attached to the neck, but that's attached to the head. So, you know, the eyes go. Now it's not bound, but the eyes go with it. You can see that, right? This head joint is those are parented to it. And so when I rotate the neck, the eyes rotate. So that'll look great. But what I want to do is be able to move the eyes around, move the direction in which she's looking. So what I'm going to do is I'll select my geometry, and then I'm going to select this particular controller. I'm going to constrain aim. And let's select the controller first and then select the geometry, constrain aim. And let's do the same thing here, controller first, right, and constrain aim. And what this does is this will change wherever these are positioned. And they're locked right now, but that's where they're locked because I locked them because I really want they're always going to move together, and I want them to be, and as you see here, they are grouped together. So they're the eyes, the left and the right eye controls are locked, but the main eye control is not. And so if I move this eye control now with those aim constraints, wherever I position this this controller will control the direction that the eyes are looking. So again, that's an aim control for each one of these controllers. And then if I don't want to move these, I want those to be locked because the main eye control will control where the eyes are positioned or where they're focused. Okay, so that's aim control, that's pull vector, aim constraint, pull vector constraints, parent constraints. The last kind of constraint I want to do here is that I have my main control. Let's get these IK handles into the rig. So the rig has the root, and then it has these IK handles. Let me just delete that too. And I'm going to drop these two within the rig also. So I have left arm, left knee, right knee. They have both a IK handle pull vector constraint and an IK handle parent constraint. And now what I'd like to do is have the main control, because the main control right now, it's not attached. Let me quickly attach it. Let's select the geometry here, and then let's select the skeleton. So let's go under rig. Let's first bind the skin here so we can really see this. Select these two, and then we'll select the root, and I'm going to say skin, bind skin. Okay, now our rig's ready to go. So I can go to my control and I can move this character anywhere. The only thing I can't do is scale it correctly. So we want to do one more constraint with the control and select this rig group, and I'm going to say constrain and scale. And so now what that'll do is, as I scale up this character, if I need to scale up or down the character, it will scale uniformly. And now I'm able to position my character anywhere in space. I'm able to operate all its controls. Now what I might do, because the eyes are parented to the skeleton, I'm just going to go ahead and say view. Let's see what I need to do here. Show. That's it. And let's take off joints. No, I don't want to see the joints. All I want to be able to see, and I don't want to be able to, at this point, select the geometry. So I'm going to turn that to an R for restricted. And now I'm able to just move all of my controllers, right? So that I'm able to modify my characters and animate it.